Hello there guys, you're listening to Ebird online and I'm back with another review, and today I'm going to be reviewing the second part of the tell-all for 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After Season 5. And so in this first part we're going to be talking about Kalani and Asuelu. Just before I begin, please don't forget to press subscribe to my channel if you like the content. And please don't forget to press the like button, it does really help with my analytics and my placing for YouTube. And you can follow me on Twitter at Ebird99. So without further ado, I give you Kalani and Asuelu. So Sean begins by asking, guys, how come you're back together? And Kalani explains, well, he just turned up one day. And Asuelu said, well, I miss my boys and my wife, so I wanted to come back. And it turns out he just knocked on the door one day with all his bags, and Kalani let him back in. He knew very well if he'd have asked, I doubt he'd have been allowed back. And I guess it shows that Kalani really wants this relationship to work, and that Asuelu really is scared shitless of Tammy, and finds her intolerable to live with. And Sean asks, so how are things now? And Kalani said, well, we're living together. But then Asuelu butted in and said, we're still arguing about me playing volleyball and me going to dance practice. Guys, he goes every day except Sunday, thereby giving himself 6 extra chances per week of catching COVID. And Kalani said, well, he lies about wearing a mask. He tells me that whilst he's playing, he wears a mask, and then he accidentally sends me videos. And I see that he's taken it off. Oh, Kalani, he hasn't even taken it with him. Well, there are 2 things here, Kalani. I think the first thing is, how likely is it that you're going to play a sport where you're running around and you're still going to wear a mask? We all know wearing a mask restricts breathing. So really, you're completely ridiculous to believe him in the first instance. And the second thing is, I feel sorry for poor Asuelu. Just a few months ago, Kalani explained to him he wouldn't make anything of himself lying in bed all day. Now she's insisting he'll save everybody's life by doing so. He doesn't know where he is. And then Sean asks about his dance practice, and he says that he's actually getting paid for this. And she asks, do you use the money to pay bills in the house, or do you send it back to your mum? And he confirms that he's paying the bills in the house. But Kalani says it's very little money considering the risk that he's bringing to the house. And she explains that her mum has a heart condition and that Asuelu's actions are completely putting her at risk. Oh, Kalani, of course he's not going to understand a heart condition. His mum doesn't have one. And then Kalani's sister Karine comes in, and her mum Lisa, and Sean asks them, how do you feel about his COVIDiotic behaviour? And Lisa says he's selfish and irresponsible and he doesn't care about anybody else but himself. I thought I was going to be safer here in Utah, but not with Asuelu around. And Sister Kalani says, it's impossible to teach him to care about others at his age. And then proving that logic always eludes Asuelu, he asks what's the difference between volleyball and the supermarket. He said we're still around people. Asuelu, is volleyball essential to life? I thought not. But for what it's worth, I will say one thing. If he's getting paid for his dance classes or whatever, I see that as more reasonable, him attending, because obviously everybody needs money and money has been an absolute bone of contention within this relationship. So I definitely do see that as a little bit more valid. But then Kalani explains to us, when I'm telling him about COVID and how it's passed on, he doesn't really want to believe me, yet he believes ridiculous things like, if I sniff the milk from the fridge, I'm going to make it go off. And Asuelu explains that back in Samoa, that's what everybody believes and that's how he's brought up. And at this point Elizabeth chimes in and she says, I think that's just superstition. And Kalani and everybody else seems to agree, and there's a little bit of chuckling. But the Ebird thought about this for a moment and thought, where did that come from? And this is what I think it is. I think it's very possible that back in the olden days in Samoa, they didn't have fridges and the milk was just in a cold store. And if something's just in a cold store, the more that you bring it out into the open and into the heat, the more it's likely to go off. So this theory probably did bear some validity back in the olden days. And that's where Asuelu's got it from. Because we're in the West and we have fridges which work and are really cold, it's not an issue to us. But I guess that's potentially where it comes from. I think Asuelu has to have all reasons broken down and explained to him like a child in order for him to potentially understand. And I don't know that anyone actually tries to do it adequately. And before everyone starts having a go at me, I am not making excuses for Asuelu. I'm just saying, here's where we're at. We have to meet him where he's at. He has the mind of a child. We have to speak to him and explain to him as if he's a child. And then we have one of our quick trips down memory lane to the wonderful car journey, where amongst other things Asuelu called his wife an effing bitch, a lying bitch, and explained to her that she had an effing annoying laugh. And Sean asks, how do you feel hearing him talk to your daughter like that? And Lisa said not great. And then she said unless he changes, this relationship isn't going to last. And then Asuelu said, well, I regret saying it. But then immediately he starts swearing again. And he says I can say she's a bitch if I want. And he's feeling massively attacked by everybody. And he tries to walk away. Kalani tries to make him stay. But he disappears. And Kalani explains to us that he struggles to express his feelings. Kalani? It doesn't seem as if he does. He thinks you're an idiot, an effing bitch, and a lying bitch. And I nearly forgot, you have an effing annoying laugh. I understood what he was feeling, Kalani. And next up, Sean introduces Asuelu's mum, and everybody's dream, the lovely Tammy. And Sean asked Tammy, what do you think's going on in this relationship? And Tammy said, everyone's attacking Asuelu, and by everyone, I think she means the whole of the World Wide Web. Every freaking body. But she continues, Kalani should be the one to tell him, instead of the whole family. Tammy, let's not forget that you always tell Asuelu what to do as well. And then Kalani points out, but you get involved when my sister tries to discuss money with Asuelu, and you tell her it's none of her business. And Tammy said if he wants to give money to his family, it's nothing to do with Kalani. Stay in your lane. I bet my bottom dollar that she would mount the curb to ensure that you, Tammy, were in her lane. You send nothing home. Not only that, your paws are all over Asuelu's money. And then Asuelu's mum said he should send money to his mum if he has it. And Lisa said, we send cash home all the time. I get it. But we just send what we can and people are thankful for it. You cannot demand the amount. And Kalani said she doesn't mind sending money when Asuelu's mum's in Samoa, but not when she's in America. And then it gets fun. Kalani asked Tammy, how much do you send? And Tammy said, why do you care? It's none of your business. Don't you worry how much I send to my mum. And yet again, Tammy fails to let us know how much, if any, she sends. And then we go down memory lane and we see the good fellas on the high bridge. And we see Asuelu's mum saying, I don't care about the kids. Just give me money, that's all I want. And then we see Tammy like a raging bull saying, I'm gonna beat you up. And both Kalani and Kalani are laughing to themselves. Asuelu explains to Sean he was upset about this because of the way they spoke to his wife, the fact his mum said she didn't care about the kids, and the fact that Tammy said she was going to beat Kalani up. I think he's mainly upset because his money was on Tammy and not Kalani. And Tammy tries to explain, my mum was really mad, that's why she said it. And when Kalani says that she thinks the whole thing was out of order, Tammy starts again. Kalani, leave it out, I will beat your ass too. Kalani says, I'll give you my address. Oh Lord. Lord, the Ebird would like permission to cease condoning violence for 20 minutes while Kalani or Kalani taps Tammy's ass. And then Elizabeth, Andrei and Debbie all agree that violence isn't the way. Thanks for that, Andrei. And Tammy tells Debbie, stay out of it. I don't know why he can't just give the money. You should confer with Kalani. She can bear testimony to the fact that he's always had problems withdrawing. And then Debbie said if you can't afford it in America, go back to Samoa. And Tammy said, stay out of it, Debbie. I'll come and beat your ass too. And then Angela starts, if I was your mum, I'd beat your ass. And then she went into the ye old Angela knows no bounds mode. She said, you're so disrespectful, you wouldn't get a damn thing from me. He's got 2 kids to look after. And Tammy said, I'll beat you up too. And Angela says, yada yada yada. Tammy thinks she's going to beat everybody up. Tammy, how? Please stop picking and eating wild mushrooms. And Asuelu's mum says, Tammy, please stop. I want you to love your brother. I love my son. And then she tells us all how upset she was after the big argument on the high bridge. And she said Asuelu came to me and I said, my boy, I love you. And I don't want to lose him or his sons. And I don't want him to lose his sons. I told him not to go dancing. And please stop going to volleyball. Please stay home and take care of your wife and kids. Whatever you do in these times of COVID, always wear a mask. Please love your wife. Please love your kids. And if you can, but only if you can, send me some money. Oh God, guys, it was hilarious. At this point, Kalani, she picked up a massive tub of popcorn and started eating it. And it definitely was a Razzie-worth performance from Asuelu's mum. And Sean asked Kalani, do you accept Asuelu's mum's apology? Yeah, sure, why not? I always accept her apologies. And then Tammy said, well, if it doesn't work out, they need to get a divorce. If the problem is money, then that's what he needs to do. At the end of the day, he needs to help out our family in Samoa. both Kalani and Lisa get really upset because Asuelu's saying nothing. He's not backing up Kalani in any way. Kalani's obviously really upset, and they both say to Asuelu, why aren't you backing her up? Why aren't you taking some responsibility for your actions? And at this point, Asuelu decides to make good his leave, and apparently he blocks Kalani on his phone. Maybe he's decided to go and play volleyball with his mask. And that's where we leave these guys for today. So what does the Ebird make of all this? So it seems as if we're exactly where we always are with these guys. Asuelu is definitely too childish for Kalani. Tammy thinks she can beat everybody up. And his mum's trying to smooth everything out by recasting herself from money grabber to benevolent little grandmother, and from somebody who doesn't care about her son or her grandsons and pretending to be Mother Teresa. So guys, let me know what you think of this. Let me know if you buy it. I for one don't at all. I think whatever Tammy says, the mum exactly agrees, but she doesn't want to be made to look bad on TV. And what do you think of Asuelu playing volleyball every day? It's not even once a week. I think it's extremely selfish considering that their mum has a heart condition and is in a high risk category. So let me know what you think in comments down below, and I will get on with my new video. Just before I go, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you to everyone that subscribed thus far. It really does make a difference. Thank you so much for your support. And also, don't forget to smash the like button. You've been listening to Ebird Online. Ciao for now.